knew I was going downhill. And this was between early this year down till the month of April, June. But then I remember what happened was that now before before I go further, I now got in touch with my friend who is Fumi Lola, who is the owner of Dropstones with Lola. She's on Instagram. I'll put her handle here so you guys can find her. And I said, listen, this keto diet of a thing, how does it work? And I got into the plan with her. Now, while I was doing keto, I saw a very drastic change. In 1 month, I lost weight. But then I was doing research, I was, trying to get information, what I had to eat, what I couldn't eat. But in the midst of all of that, I also realized that it was frustrating for me. Keto diet was frustrating for me because I also read that it was a diet plan that was actually followed by those who suffered from diabetes and those who suffered from epilepsy, So it was frustrating for me because I enjoy eating rice, not all the time, but it's a meal I enjoy. So not being able to eat rice, not being able to eat baguettes, and not being able to eat certain things, I love to take eba gari, but not all the time, and I love it with okra soup. And then they had the alternative. And it was really super frustrating. So after a month, yes, I saw my weight drop. My husband even, he was like, wow, you're really dropping weight. But after that month, I just didn't want to go again. And then I said, okay, fine. I go back to my normal meals. And then I just went poof. So I then realized and I found out that with keto diet, you would lose the weight pretty fast, but you will gain it faster and more. Yeah. So I was like, okay, keto is not for me. And on my birthday on the 9th of July, I walked from my house to the gym that was just close to my house. Now, get this. It's not as if I wasn't thinking. I had been thinking about losing weight, but I didn't have the motivation to be able to say, okay, I would go to the gym. I recall one time I had to go to the gym sometime, but it was so far. And I have, for me, a motivational factor in my life. In everything I do is that whatever it is I'm doing, that is me. This is me. A lot of people may not agree with it, but if I have to do something that has to do, with my developmental structure, I always have to think about it being close to home. Driving school, gym, school, work. I'm just like that, the nearness to home is a factor, is a very, very strong factor for me, especially for things like, for school, the kids school, driving school, your gym, the store. I'm that kind of, I'm a hermit, if I must use that word. I'm a hermit. I love my space. I love being in my world, and I also enjoy, when I have to go, I don't have to go so far. That is me. So I always thought about, nearness to home. Now the gym is like 4 bus stops away. There's another one which is farther than that. So I was like, okay, so I was torn between, okay, do I go to the one that's 4 stops away, or I go, because if I leave my house, I just go to the next one, but it's farther than this other one. So I walked to the gym, and it was a walking distance. I was like, okay, fine, about 30 minutes walk. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll go to the gym. And there I got to the gym, and they took me around facility, and you know, very nice coach. He explained a lot of things to me. I did not start working out. I did not start my gym until about 2 weeks. It took me that long, I think, or a month. It took me that long to get into it. And I said, listen, if I don't do this now, I'll never do it again. I've toyed with the idea long enough. Now, when I got there, I'll tell you guys, I wept the first time, because it reminded me, I used to be an athlete and I have medals to show for it. I have certificates, my certificates to show for it. I used to be an athlete, and I felt this very strong loss of, you know, who I used to be at that moment. And I also realized that my clothes were not fitting anymore. I even sprained my ankle in that period in my boots. I walk perfectly with high heels. I'm a high heel person. But then I now realized I was limping. There's a video of mine, I actually even noticed, I was like, why am I walking like I'm limping? And that was what I noticed in that video. I realized that on high heels, I had no balance. So I was losing equilibrium. And I wept that first day at gym. And the coach, who was such a wonderful person, called me and he was like, listen, it's not the end of the world, and tell yourself you can do this. And then one of the things he told me that I hold so dear, and I am so grateful for, he said that, and you know, and this is something I actually, because I'm a language technician and a consultant in languages, and I know it's something I also tell my clients most of the time, and I was like, listen, everything I do in the class here is like 20%. The rest, it's all up to you. It's all about, you know, interaction. If you remain in the language, you're going to be able to learn the language. If you do not remain in the language, it's going to be hard for you to be able to, you know, progress in the language. So, you know, and then he told me the same thing. He said I could come to the gym every day and do every crazy thing that I want to do here. And then if my diet doesn't change, said I'm wasting my time. And I'm a research person. I love to do research. So I went on the internet, I was checking medical books, name it, you know, what to eat before going to the gym, what, you know, kind of things to, you know, prepare myself for. And you know what I needed, I had to know that my blood needed oxygen to be able to move, you know, because if I took things like eggs in the morning to go to the gym, it wasn't going to work. So I had to find all those, you know, things, you know, that would help me and facilitate my movement or my weight loss journey. Now, keto diet comes in here, and I will tell you, those who do keto diet, I salute you for your courage. I salute you for your discipline. I salute you for your strength, because it's not easy to do that. It's really not easy, especially when you know you have no particular malady, you know, no particular sickness that requires you to diet in that form, you know. So those who are into keto, I mean, you got all my 10 over 10. You guys just keep doing the work with. I can't. Right? I just can't. So what did I do? We went and this was where keto became so useful to me, because I was able to apply some of the things I learned in keto, like intermittent fasting. I was able to apply eating coconuts. I never used to enjoy coconuts, not even in Nigeria. I never really used to enjoy them because, you know, I like them really soft, the really soft ones, but you hardly find those. So I learned to enjoy coconut because of keto. I also learned and loved coconut water. Right from time I do take it, but now, and my husband now encourages me with that, so he buys coconut. We get coconuts here, so he buys coconuts all the time. and I take the water, and it's so good. It's very, very good. Now, what else did I learn? I also learned from keto. Keto helped me understand, my body. That is one thing. If you do not understand your body, if you do not understand what the meals you eat do to you, it's going to be hard. So, and that is one thing I'm so grateful and thankful for. Keto helped me understand, the intake of carbs, the quantity of carbs to take. Because truthfully, if after my coach said that, and I had no prior knowledge about what carbs, could do, and the quantity of carbs to take, I do eat carbs. I love carbs. But then I now realize, because with help of my coach, I also realized, okay, since you can't do carbs, since you can't do carbs, then you have to let go of carbs. But then with workout plan, it tells you that carbs, you have to have a particular quantity of carbs that you can consume in a day, and that if you're able to consume less than 1,800 calories, of carbs, then you are good to go. So that was one of the things keto helped me. It so helped me, especially in portion control, because it's one thing to say, oh, I want to eat rice, but then portion control is the key. So that's one of the biggest benefits I got from keto diet. I was able to it helped me put that into perspective. Food, proteins, carbs, vegetables. And I've always loved vegetables. We grew up eating vegetables, so that has never been an issue, and oils and butter. Right now, as I work out, I take butter, but then it's the quantity. What's the I take butter, I eat I take bacon, I eat all those things. There's nothing I don't take. But what the most important thing and the essential I always tell myself is quantity, control, portion. I have some Instagram handles that I know that talk about a lot of things, and sugar. I have a friend, when I was in university, she lost weight only by quitting her Coke intake. And the time when we were in school, I recall, she would eat, she would take Coke and drink. She took Coke 3 times a day with her meals. And she lost weight alone just because she stopped taking Coke.